came out here to get some hay to bring home for the dog for bedding, for the dog and for the chickens. But there was something I've been meaning to talk about, and I got reminded of it today when they acquitted Trump. Now, I was kind of hoping that they would go to the witness stage of this thing, because there's some stuff that kind of needs to be brought out. But hopefully they'll work on this some more now that they got this part out of the way. But I don't know if many of you have read that Time magazine article where they talked about this cabal thing. I just know the dog's gonna hit that tripod. Yeah, well, stay over here. You know, it's a funny thing. You know, there's something, you know, there were people behind the scenes pulling all this stuff all the time. A group of people that were behind the scenes doing this. And I've always been a little suspicious about what was going on. You know, I know that for Hillary this is kind of a grudge match. So she's keeping her fingers in this stuff. But she keeps out of the limelight all the time. In fact, you know, the way things are being run now, you know, like I say, Biden, he's just a puppet. He's got nothing to do with this. And I was trying to figure out who's pulling the strings here. But actually, the one that's running things behind the scenes is Susan Rice, which was, you know, the old chum of Hillary, kind of her protege. So she's getting the feedback from Hillary, but they're using her as kind of a cutout to Biden. You know, it's a horror. You watch what's going on, and it's, you know, they made all these promises they can't possibly keep to all these people. So now it's you know, that whole free-for-all with these executive orders. You know, he has no idea what he's doing, but it's just there were promises that had been made to these people. So they're trying to fill them out quick before they have to give up on him completely. You know, now he's a good kind of Apache. They can use him, but eventually they're just going to have to dump him because, you know, he's obviously in pretty rough shape. You know, mentally, he just isn't there. But Susan Rice is, she's a bit of a weasel, if you remember her from the Benghazi stuff, you know, all that Libya stuff. But she was working with Hillary then. And I happen to think of this too when, you know, they were talking, you know, this is why I would have liked to seen some witnesses involved in this thing at the Great Raid, you know, at the Capitol. Because a funny thing turns up, you know, they were, so it was a horrible, murderous mob of heavily armed people that stormed this thing, you know, and 5 people died. Well, yeah, and then it was, what, or maybe it was 6 now, I don't remember anymore. But there was some heart attack and a stroke, but there were 3 cops that went down in this. One of them, well, 2 of them were suicides, which, you know, for a long time I heard one was, but then it turns out there was actually 2 of them, which I thought was funny. And then the third one, that at first they got claimed he got hit with a fire extinguisher, and then they said, well, no, they can't figure out why he died. He just died, mysteriously, of unknown causes. It made me think back to, you know, in Hillary's prime, she had a trail of suicides and mysterious deaths behind her. I think she's still up to her old shenanigans. It just struck me that way, you know. I thought, anytime you see people mysteriously dying, you know, it's just Hillary cleaning up after herself. That was weird. You know, I even, like, 1 suicide would have been weird, but then 2, and then this unexplained mystery death, you know, that's kind of weird. people weren't a little weird. But if you look at Hillary's history, man, there's a lineup back there. But this is a grudge match for her. And no holds barred, and Hillary plays dirty. So I think I kind of would have liked to see this, it was a foregone conclusion, but I would like to see them, because they were threatening they were going to pull Pelosi to the stand and get testimony from her, because one of the things, too, they were talking about, they really would have liked to got it, because like I said, there was weird stuff going on with the Capitol Police on that day. And one of the things was that, like I say, they had sent some of them home. They, stripped the place bare, only put a few cops there. Well, all summer they had been claiming that they had no control over this Black Lives Matters and BLM and, and the Antifa and all this stuff. That they couldn't control them, that wasn't their doing. But if you read this Time thing, this article, then it says that, that this cabal, which is a kind way of putting it, but that they had asked Antifa and BLM to not protest on that day, to counter-protest, because they wanted to keep just the Trump people involved in this. That's kind of weird. Because then, they didn't protest. Now, how could they pass up such an opportunity? But no, they stayed home. So, obviously, they have control over these people, at least to a certain degree. And it's funny because, now they're ready to go after Biden, this whole bunch. I mean, you're never going to get rid of them. You enabled them and you aren't going to stop now. But they were really afraid that they would, if they had to get Harris up there and Pelosi up there, under oath testifying to what they actually knew, it would be disaster. So they had to quit and just drop the whole thing. But I kind of would have liked to see this play out a little more. Though it was a horrible waste of time and money. This impeachment thing was just nonsense anyway for somebody who actually isn't in office. If they would have spent even half the time and money actually looking into the election fraud that they spent on this whole impeachment nonsense, this could have been settled. But no, but Hillary holds a grudge. And I keep seeing little signs of Hillary turning up in this, just little indicators. And that trail of dead bodies that can't be explained. That's a Hillary sign. It's going to get cold again tonight. I think it's 20 below now. It's going to get at least 25 below, maybe 30. I'm sure glad I got that ass home. That has been nice.